Today we're going to make some bread. Let me show you what it looks like. Kabam! It's gooey, it's crunchy, and it is the greatest bread you will ever have. Okay, YouTube, so here's the thing about this bread. To make it, you need one of these. This is a Dutch oven. It's cast iron. Mine's enamel coated because it makes it prettier. And it's a big casserole pot. If you have one in Kneading, it'll work, but not nearly as well. So, if you don't have one yet and you want to make bread really well, I strongly suggest you throw this on your birthday list. Cheap ones run around $50, and your mother will think that you're an amazing chef if you have one. So, get it! Okay, so in terms of actual ingredients, all we need is bread flour, salt, yeast, and cold water, which I don't have right now. In terms of yeast, just so you know, you can buy it in the big jar of active dry yeast, which has a bunch of it, or you can buy it in little envelope things, which will have the yeast in a smaller amount. So if you're only going to do this once or twice, buy the envelope, it'll save you money. So this is really easy. So first we start with bread flour, and it's really important that you get the bread flour and not just plain old-fashioned all-purpose flour, because the bread flour has a higher concentration of what's called gluten. Gluten are these things that form long, sticky strands, which will ultimately hold your flour or hold your bread together. So you want about 3 cups of that. As you can see, it's okay if you go a little crazy with this. It'll still work beautifully. Okay, then a teaspoon and a half of salt. Now, when you're measuring salt, because you don't want too much salt, never measure over the bowl, especially if you're a beginner. So I just say use an old measuring cup or the sink and measure out 1 1/4 teaspoons of salt. 1. Get my quarter out, and I just let it sprinkle in because that's fine. 1/4 teaspoon of yeast. That's almost nothing, but that's all you need because we're going to let this rise overnight. So once you have all your dry ingredients, take a fork and just kind of mix them all together, even it out a little bit. It's okay if you don't do a crazy awesome job. It's not, you know, to get everything perfectly mixed, but just so that you don't have a big pack of yeast and a big pack of salt. Okay, then you're going to get 1 1/3 cups of cold water. You want the water to be about the same temperature you would have it if you were going to drink from it. Okay, so not hot, cold water. So now what you want to do is take a wooden spoon. I actually have a special spoon paddle my dad made me. And just mix your mixture all together so that everything's evenly mixed. It's going to pretty much take on the texture of like crazy thick pancake batter to kind of reference you. And it's going to get, you know, kind of small, big lumpy mess. And it's okay if it's not perfect. You know, there's going to be some lumps and that's fine. Scrape off your spoon as best you can. You can use your fingers. And this is going to be really sticky and kind of gross. You're just going to kind of scrape everything in there. Okay, so after you mix it for about 30 seconds, you just cover it up with a dish towel. And you're going to let it sit for 12 to 18 hours, i.e. make it the night before, go to sleep, go to class or work, and the next day come home and finish it up. Okay, YouTube, it's been 15 hours, and this is what my lovely batch of dough looks like. It's very sticky, as you can see, and that's because of all the gluten, which is why we use the bread flour. It makes these long, sticky strands. So what we're going to do is on a nice surface, you're going to sprinkle out a little bit of flour, maybe a 1/4 cup at most if you need measurements. And you're just going to kind of spread it around to make sure that your dough doesn't stick to anything but the flour itself. Then you're going to tilt your bowl sideways and use a rubber spatula to just ease all the sticky dough out. And ideally you don't want to break it up because then it's a big pain in the butt. So once you've got it all out, make sure you flour your hands, just like that. And you're just going to kind of pull it back upon itself. A couple times. You're going to probably lose a little bit, but that's okay. And you just, gosh, this is sticky. you want to form a ball. Okay? Once you've got it kind of into a ball shape, it doesn't have to be perfect, there's going to be some stuck to your hands. Go and rinse off your hands. And then what you're going to do is, remember that dish towel you had? Kind of lay it on top of where your bread is and just gently sprinkle some cornmeal, wheat germ, or just more flour, whichever you got around. The cornmeal and wheat germ kind of make it a little crunchier. I think it tastes a little better. But if you don't have any, no worries. It'll still be fantastic bread. Okay, so then, floured hands. Pick up your ball of bread dough and place it on top of the cornmeal. Sprinkle more cornmeal on it. Kind of pat it around. Essentially, you want to go heavy on cornmeal or flour or whatever you're using to really turn it kind of a yellowy color. Okay. Once you got your blob, cover it and let it sit for 2 hours. And we'll talk in a while. So, after an hour and a half of rising time, i.e. a half hour before you want to bake it and the rising time is over, turn your oven to 475 and take your cast iron thing, put it in the oven, and shut the door. And yes, I did just go donate blood. Okay, so after 30 minutes of preheating your pot in your oven, take it out. Okay, so you take the lid off, and then you're just going to take your dough and just dump it into your thing, whatchamacallit, Dutch oven. Kind of wiggle it slightly to shake it around. So you're going to put the lid on, put it back into the oven, and you're going to let it sit for 30 minutes. And then after 30 minutes, just take the lid off for another 15 minutes, and I'll show you how to take it off and put it onto a drying rack. Okay, so after another 15 minutes with the lid off, so that's 45 minutes total, take your bread out, take it out of your pan, and just set it to cool. It might not be perfectly round, but trust me, it's going to taste fabulous. And you let it cool for an hour and eat. Delicious! Bye.